Seattle is an absolutely fantastic place to live, and on a sunny day, it's simply gorgeous. I mean, check it out. But living in Seattle, or any other big city for that matter, can seem almost impossible due to the crippling prices of everything. Today I'd like to give some tips and pieces of advice for how to afford living in the city, whether you rent or buy. The general rule of thumb when it comes to renting is that your rent should not exceed 30% of your income. Now, this will vary depending on the circumstance. For example, if you just have a ton of student loan debt, you may want your rental expenses to be less than 30% of your income so that you can afford to send a bigger portion of that income paying down those loans. On the flip side, if you don't really have many other expenses and live a rather modest life but want, nicer housing or a nicer rental, then, maybe more than 30% of your income can be afforded. First and foremost, you need to decide what is important to you about the place that you're going to live. Does the size of the space matter at this point in your life? Do you need a really big place to live, or a yard, or is a smaller place with a more ideal location better for you? Is proximity to the city important to you? Obviously, the closer you are to downtown or the heart of the city, the more costly it's going to be for you to live there. If living further away from the city doesn't bother you at all, you can probably get more for your money. Do you really feel the need for privacy or the desire to live alone? Roommates are a great option to immediately cut your costs down and possibly allow you to live in a bigger and nicer space. When thinking about how much you spend monthly towards your rent or your housing, make sure to include all costs. This is utilities, electric, cable and internet, parking spot. All of that is a factor and comes into play when looking at, does this number exceed 30% or your set amount of my income? When it comes time to save for a house, non-retirement investment accounts such as brokerage accounts or taxable and tax managed accounts are absolutely a fantastic tool. This goes without saying, but the more time that you allow yourself and the earlier that you start saving, the easier it will be to afford that house when you're ready. Time not only allows you to make more deposits into an investment account, but it also allows more time for those investments to work and to grow that money. So when it comes time for the down payment on that home, you are ready. Another bit of advice to make living in the city easier is to try your best to keep an accurate budget. Now, I know how difficult this is, but by keeping yourself to a budget, you're less likely to spend money on things that you don't need and just buying here and there on the daily, rather than saving that money for the goals that you actually want to achieve. One trick that goes hand in hand with budgeting is to consider buying groceries rather than always eating out. Obviously eating out is fun and doing it every now and then is perfectly fine, but buying groceries for the bulk of your meals, or at least a few meals a day, will go so far towards saving you money. This is also a double bonus because buying groceries as opposed to eating out will probably make you feel better and healthier. Take advantage of all the wonderful free activities in your city, whether it's just something you're doing for fun or you're taking someone out on a date. There are so many options of things to do that don't cost a penny. In Seattle, a few examples: Gasworks, Golden Gardens, the Seattle Center, Ballard Locks, the Sculpture Park, Alki, Discovery Park. The list goes on and on. At the end of the day, you know best areas that you could afford to save more and how to prioritize your spending. If you need some help or want to figure out more specifics on what you can afford, please reach out. I'm always happy to help. Take care.